And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now for a live special report. I'm Justin Gould. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announcing just moments ago that he will resign in 2 weeks' time. This after New York's Attorney General released a report last week confirming the several allegations of sexual misconduct against him. Our Julia Gress is live in our newsroom at the alert desk this afternoon with more now on what the governor had to say. And this news, Julia, coming shocking to many on the heels of a conference with his attorney, correct?
Yes, this was very different than the conference with the lawyer. We heard her denying the legitimacy of the report and the evidence they chose to include and to not include. Whether that will be seen later on in the separate investigation that's happening, we'll obviously find out. But in 2 weeks' time, we will have a new governor of the state of New York. And like Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul said, she is ready and prepared.
Yeah, and I think the big thing with Governor Cuomo, he slipped this resignation into this live broadcast, which I think one thing that, while being fair to the governor, we have to recognize for our viewers is a lot of times when he holds public announcements, he doesn't give us too much detail. But let's listen specifically as to what the governor had to say.
And wasting energy on distractions is the last thing that state government should be doing. And I cannot be the cause of that. New York tough means New York loving. And I love New York. And I love you. And everything I have ever done has been motivated by that love. And I would never want to be unhelpful in any way. And I think that given the circumstances, the best way I can help now is if I step aside and let government get back to governing.
Now, this on the heels of the Assembly Judiciary Committee yesterday meeting and discussing and laying out really their plan to impeach the governor. One of the other big things that we noted, Julia, this entire time is the governor proclaiming his innocence, that he didn't do these acts to the extent that they're alleged. And today, I know we heard from him again on that front with this apologetic tone, not necessarily admitting to the sexual harassment acts, however, continuing to apologize to what is it, this growing list of women here in New York State who he closely worked with.
Yeah, he's walking a really fine line between that apologizing and admitting to what he allegedly has done. And the news has been covering a lot about his capitalization of the Me Too movement. And I know earlier we were talking a little bit about, the specific laws he signed in to New York State law of training for employees on how to identify sexual harassment, how to not do sexual harassment. And, clearly he might have not taken his own advice.
Right. And he addressed that again today in a longer form. Let's listen.
And there is a difference between alleged improper conduct and concluding sexual harassment. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not to say that there are not 11 women who I truly offended. There are. And for that, I deeply, deeply apologize. I thought a hug and putting my arm around a staff person while taking a picture was friendly, but she found it to be too forward. I kissed a woman on the cheek at a wedding, and I thought I was being nice, but she felt that it was too aggressive. I have slipped and called people honey, sweetheart, and darling. I meant it to be endearing, but women found it dated and offensive. I said on national TV to a doctor wearing PPE and giving me a COVID nasal swab, "You make that gown look good." I was joking. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have said it on national TV. But she found it disrespectful. I take full responsibility for my actions.
Now, one important note here is that there are several criminal probes underway into the governor's behavior, one most notably by the Albany County District Attorney in reference to one of the accusers who just came public this week in a CBS News report.
Yeah, I mean, these criminal charges that he's calling a distraction from COVID or other issues are a little bit more than a distraction. These are criminal offenses that have to be thoroughly investigated. And like we've talked about, the investigation is different than a trial. And he will receive a fair trial whether he is the current sitting governor or not. So we'll just have to wait to see how that plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. Julia, thank you very much for continuing to cover this breaking story for us. If you're just joining us, the headline on the screen is correct. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announcing he will resign in 2 weeks' time amid a number of sexual harassment allegations.